What's up, everyone? We are live at 5 on Monday, June 10th, 2019, the day after the 2019 Tony Awards. Did you watch? We hope you did. I'm Paul Wontorek.
I'm Beth Stevens.
And we're joined by Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello. Yay.
And Beth, one of our favorite industry friends, is here today. This has become a little bit of a tradition.
It has. Julie James is
Julie
here.
James of SiriusXM on Broadway. Now, this is like a tradition because every Tony night we're basically we're up very late with her.
Correct.
And then we
brings
get
the
here at some
glamour.
point, and then she shows up. Yeah, and she literally brings the glamour. I was wearing I go very dressed down the minute that a black tie event's over.
The flip-flops come
and then
out.
Julie showed up, and I was like, I better throw a blazer on. So I did. That's credit
Thank you
to
for
you,
doing
Julie
that.
James.
We appreciate it.
We will talk to Julie all about the Tony Awards, but first, today's top 5.
Broadway's biggest night was last night, and there's a whole lot of winners.
Guys, we're going to tell you about the Tony Awards. Okay.
Surprise.
In case you thought it was going to be about something else, you're incorrect. We are talking Tonys. Big winner of the night, Hadestown,
Absolutely.
with 8 wins, including Best Musical, Score, Andre DeShields for Featured Actor in a Musical. Lots of good stuff there.
Design awards.
Design
a lot of
awards,
yeah.
all kinds of good stuff. The Ferryman took home the prize for Best Play and won 4 awards. But they spread the love around. That's the best thing about the Tonys. Lots of love all over the place. The Cher Show had 2, with Stephanie J. Block's win and Bob Mackie. Yes.
I don't know if this is really a spread the love around kind of year. It was pretty Hadestown.
It was very Hadestown, but not for acting. The acting awards went to other shows, so it was kind of great.
Yep.
Bryan Cranston for Network, Santino Fontana for Tootsie, which also won Best Book, and Rachel Chavkin for Hadestown, Sam Mendes for The Ferryman. The whole list is, I'm sure you're watching, but if you weren't watching, go on Broadway.com, look at the whole list, and see all the winners.
Yep.
We had a whole lot of fun, but the viewership was not so great this year.
This is the saddest thing about this Julie James episode of Live at 5 every year. I feel like we're always the ratings. It's never fun to talk about the ratings.
It's kind of part of the tradition, though, isn't it?
It's part of the tradition. There's always usually there's a little but ratings not great, but
it was a really
so
good
let's
show.
see what we have here.
What's the but?
So, first of all, it was a fantastic.
It was a great.
I actually
great,
watched it live,
entertaining.
which I'm going to talk to Julie about. I was actually in the house watching it for the first time since I was 17 years old. That's a different story. But it was a really fun show, I would say. I love James Corden. I think he is fantastic. So here we go. The CBS telecast saw a drop in viewership, the lowest rating for the Tonys in 5 years.
Aww.
Take a moment for that. The 2019 telecast earned a 0.8 rating in the demographic of viewers age 18 to 49 with a final viewership of 5.5 million. Now, 5.5 million, that sounds great.
I have a question. Does
Because
this
you know, like
include-
1,200 people see Hadestown every night, so 5.5 million.
That's a lot. Now, does this include people who DVR'd it? Because I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I'm going to go watch it several times starting tonight. Will that count?
No, I'm sure it doesn't. So I'm sure that it'll be
Well, they need to
huge.
add
I'm
that
sure it'll
to
be
the
the
list.
biggest DVR Tonys in the history of the Tonys.
Yep.
I'm not going to talk about it. Last year there was a nice little... Anyway, just watch it next year and tell all your friends to watch it. Come on,
Watch
we got to
it.
get behind this. But,
Yeah.
you know, luckily CBS is very...
They're committed.
Dedicated
Yes.
to the Tonys. And, you know, just please keep doing it. And, just tell your friends.
And this YouTube star is stepping into the diner.
Colleen Ballinger, who you all know as Miranda Sings, because she's a YouTube sensation, is going to join the cast of Waitress on August 20th. She's going to play the part of Dawn, which is currently played by Caitlin Houlihan, who will leave the part on August 18th. So that's what you need to know. 20 million YouTube followers.
Yep. It's huge.
Wow,
And
she's
the
a
Netflix
sensation.
series and Netflix
Bi-
special
correct.
just went up, right?
Miranda Sings, Haters Back Off. Miranda Sings Live, You're Welcome, which is a great title. Anyway, go check it out. She is playing a limited 4-week engagement through September 15th.
Amazing. And huge congratulations are in order for this new Broadway baby.
Hey, Nick Cordero. Speaking of Tony Awards, remember he was nominated for Votes for Broadway.
He's a very tall individual.
Yes. 5 years ago. And he's married to Amanda Klutz. And guess what? They had a baby. Oh, they met during. I didn't know they met during Bullets Over Broadway. I actually was not aware of
A
that.
showman's baby,
The baby was born on June 10th,
which is today.
Today.
like a few hours ago.
I guess
Well,
this morning.
it's-
Well, thanks for
evening
sharing the
now,
news,
it's
Nick.
5.
Okay,
They're
fantastic. Yeah, so congratulations. How sweet.
It's a tiny baby.
Yeah, and Nick was also seeing The Bronx Tale. He's fantastic in that. Waitress, bad guy.
Yes,
Yep.
bad guy.
A Rock of Ages. And Amanda Klutz was also seen in Follies, Young Frankenstein, Good Vibrations. They're an adorable couple, and
But
now
what's the
an
baby's
adorable
name?
family. Oh, Elvis Eduardo.
That's what I was waiting for.
Into it.
Elvis.
for it.
I like
Welcome,
that.
Elvis.
I like
Love
that.
it.
I'm into it. Okay, good job.
And this off-Broadway hit has added a very special benefit performance.
Remember when we saw Octet?
That felt like a long time ago, but it
It was
really
like last
wasn't.
week. It was like last
Yeah.
week. So Octet is a hit at the Signature Theater, and it is going to play a special performance on Tuesday, June 25th at 7:30 p.m.
It's a big hit.
I said big hit.
No, I know, but it's like they have
It's
to
a
keep
big hit.
adding
It's a big hit.
performances. Is it a big hit, Beth?
It's actually a big hit. This is this I can't talk. It's a benefit performance with big ticket prices.
For who? What's the benefit? What's it?
That's a
is
good
it?
question. I'm reading. I don't know.
It-
Signature ticket initiative.
Subsidize it.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
No, it's
But-
going to help people get tickets to signature
yes,
shows.
Right. I mean, this is Dave Malloy's show. This is a cappella stuff, and it's great.
Yeah,
Great
it's
stuff.
critically acclaimed. I'll be curious to see like if there's
it
a
has a
future for
future?
that. It's a really interesting
That's
production, so I'll be
correct.
curious to see.
It's playing through June 30th at the Signature Center. Signature, I mean, I can't even talk. Signature, Pershing Square Signature Center. There's a very long theater name.
Oh my!
It's on
Beth.
42nd Street. I've been up for 17 million hours.
What else is on the site? Well, Beth,
Oh, well.
Beth was backstage interviewing all the winners.
I
and that
was.
video is going up. I just watched it.
It's
fantastic.
probably up right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And of course, we have a lot of what else from Tony Night? We have.
We have pictures. We have
yeah.
best moments with illustrations.
I'm going to show some of those. Ryan
cool.
Casey, our illustrator, did some great illustrations. We have red carpet photos. We have photos of people holding trophies.
We have fashion.
We have a fashion roundup that Caitlin worked on.
We have your poll results.
Yes, and yeah, people. I think their favorite performance was Hadestown.
Yep.
Second favorite was the Prom, and the third favorite was Beetlejuice.
Yep.
So we
There you
always
go.
ask, so we like to put it out to you. Also, a beautiful video that Caitlin worked on. That we all worked on, but Caitlin
Yeah,
really
yeah.
really did
Team
all
effort,
the
team
interviews.
effort.
We did a tribute video for Marin Mazzie, who of course was honored last night, and we gathered a lot of her friends, and
Yeah.
Caitlin had emotional interviews with a lot of people. And
It's true.
I just cried with a lot of people. It was a really good time, though.
yeah, and
It was
the
pretty great.
video turned out
She's
really
getting a little
nice.
teary right now.
And we have some amazing party photos going up shortly.
Yes, we do. Lots of party photos.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about that.
But Julie James is here, so I'm going to get out of here.
Yes.
I'm going to go take a nap.
Okay, Beth.
Okay.
Caitlin, tell everyone about Ms. Julie James.
Yes,
Broadway
gladly.
names.
For the 4th year in a row, we have the Julie James here with us to debrief all what happened on Broadway's biggest night. She's a Sirius XM radio host. She has Broadway names with Julie James. She has everything you need to know about Broadway, radio, songs, interviews. She's great. We love her. We love having her here. Make sure you follow her at Julie_James. There's another Julie James out there. That is one word. Don't follow her. She's an author, but you could. Leave all of your questions in the comments below for us to talk about. And please welcome Julie and Paul.
Thank you, Caitlin. Hello, Julie
Hello.
James. It's been so long.
Oh, Tony Monday.
Tony Monday.
Oh, Tony Monday. This is our new annual tradition.
I know, we like it. We like it. We like seeing you. How are you? How you feeling?
I'll let you know after there's been sleep.
Well, this is always the problem. It's hard to. I haven't watched the telecast. Like I said, I was
Yeah.
in the room, and you were where during the telecast?
In the studio.
In the studio.
Yes.
So were you watching it?
We are watching, and it's really designed as like a sports play-by-play. And I have to say, we heard from so many people who were in their cars.
Yeah.
One person in a Home Depot parking lot,
Nice.
like you do.
Yes.
And they were so grateful for coverage because they were stuck and they couldn't see. And
Right.
also, it's time delayed. Why? We don't know.
Right.
Why are the Tonys delayed? But
For West Coast,
West Coast,
yeah.
it's delayed. So we're actually. I thought that those people wouldn't want spoilers, but actually a lot of them were psyched that they knew what was going on.
Right.
So in the studio. So yeah, I suppose I also watched dress rehearsal. So
Right.
I saw it in the room in dress rehearsal, and then I saw it on television, kind of, sorta. So yeah, there's always the postmortem where you gotta like get with your DVR and have some Tony time.
So you watched it. You watched the dress rehearsal for what purpose?
I create basically the run of show
Right.
that we're going to follow for this said play-by-play. And as you know, we know who is performing. We know what casts are performing, but they don't typically reveal the numbers.
Yeah.
And so I find out what numbers so that when Santino Fontana is performing Unstoppable on the Tonys, we can talk about it, play a red carpet clip or two, and then play the song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the red carpet, I should say, we did live from the red carpet
Yep.
from 6 to 8,
Okay.
which was only the second year that I've done like super live, which was exciting. Yeah.
And similarly, Caitlin Gallup, our social media manager, also attends the dress rehearsal, and she figures out, the order of the awards.
Yeah,
That's
a
the
lot
only
of
way-
people, the order of the awards, the order of the whole run of show.
Yeah.
So that you can follow it. And a lot of us peeps are there doing that kind of
Yeah.
like planning work.
Yeah.
So it is enjoyable, but it's also work
You
because
can
you're
create
planning.
a schedule.
Yeah, you can
schedule to the night.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it was hard to see over the couple making out in front of me the
Oh
whole
yeah,
time.
I heard
but-
about that. I saw the photo. You showed me a photo of that actually.
Yeah.
Do we know who these people? So let me get this right. This is like 11 a.m. What time did
Yeah,
it start?
I mean, it
10?
starts at like 9:30.
So there was a couple sitting at Radio City Music Hall, intensely making out in front of you.
Yeah, the whole time too. It was like, just like rubbing and fucking canoodling and
It's a sexy
and then,
year on
yeah,
Broadway.
and I was like,
Hadestown's a
I know
sexy
Broadway
show.
turns me on. I just didn't know it was all like that. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it went on.
Do you think they were lost, or were they just looking for a dark room?
Well, at one
What-
point, yeah, it was dark. I think that, at one point, the she of the couple was like online shopping. I saw lots of like pictures of shorts, like that was happening in between. Another time, they seemed to be like kind of intensely deciding what they wanted for lunch. It was like, no, but what do you want?
What? I wonder
Oh,
what
I
they
said
were doing
sushi.
there. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know what was really going on there, but
Well, I'm going to tell you something interesting. So, like I said, it's my first year sitting and watching the Tonys.
and this is exactly what you and Sam were doing.
No. Thank you. No, but I'm always working, and Beth was backstage. Normally, I'm with Beth.
Right.
I'm normally doing these interviews, and I wanted to watch it this year, and it was my first time since working at Broadway.com that I have done this. So that's 20 Tony Awards. And I went in high school to see it to cheer on Grand Hotel, famously. I skipped the prom. Famously. Anyway, I didn't have people making out in front of me, but I had an interesting experience because I'm not used to sitting in Radio City with industry people watching the Tony Awards. So I was sitting in a section with a lot of producers.
Sure.
A lot of there were winners near me, and it was good seats, but there were producers and people who were very much on the team of certain shows.
Right.
And I found it really kind of jarring how I'm used to being such a like Broadway fanboy. So I'm used to being like, everything's like, oh my God, Celia Keenan-Bolger just won. Oh my God. They were very
rooting.
much like,
Oh, not
waiting
our
for their
person.
shows, kind of, and then going crazy. And it was interesting. It made me go like, oh yeah, these people are all in this room. Like, there's money riding on these things, and
Sure.
and they're very much like. And I'm used to at Broadway.com. We're very like. We're cheerleaders.
We
You're
love
a
to
cheerleader
cheer.
too. As journalists, we
That's
are
what we
cheerleaders.
do.
for
That's
Broadway.
the gig.
So it was just interesting for me to take it in. And I felt like I was like suddenly the crazy fan in my
Right.
section, and it was just interesting.
Well, do you feel like, because I definitely feel like I know we have opinions, we talk about them often,
sure.
we have our personal feelings about things, but when it comes to our jobs, we're very all nations in a certain
Absolutely.
way. Like you're all nations. So you're saying that the energy
It's hard for me
was
to get used
favored
to.
nations, not all nations.
Yeah.
So it was like, if it's not my show, I don't really
Yes,
care.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And literally not clapping after some numbers. And it was
Oh.
strange for me. But I also have to say, it made me kind of appreciate this environment, and I think you were a part of this
Yeah.
too. Made me
Yeah.
appreciate the environment that we've created here.
Yeah.
Because we have morning meetings every day, and our team is we're doing everything for every So
Yeah.
anyway, it wasn't a judgmental statement, but it was just kind of it was just
Right, it's
It was
just
kind of
different.
like people are
This is
coming
how
into
the
this
rest of
room
the world
with
are.
all sorts of different things.
Right.
Anyway, so
But I'm so happy for you that you got to go.
Thank you.
I'm
It was
insanely
fun.
jealous, of course,
It was
but
fun.
I'm so happy that you got to just go and enjoy. And it seemed like you were having a really great time.
next year, let's all the press just go enjoy it. We
don't need to do any coverage. We don't need to do
Let's just all
coverage.
enjoy it. So we're both fans of Hadestown.
Yes.
So big night.
Big night for
obviously for Hadestown.
Yep.
You're playing the album now, right?
Yeah.
Over at Sirius XM.
One of the things that was
Broadway.
really interesting that made this year a little different.
Everything
than-
came out at once.
Everything kind of came
All
out
the albums.
in the same week. And
An album coming out means what for you?
well, if you're fortunate, what you hope is that as a radio station, we're exclusively premiering a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so certain
So
tracks.
I had I had definitely been premiering numbers from Hadestown. Definitely had like 2, I think, exclusives from Tootsie last week. One that's not out that is playing loud and proud on Sirius XM on Broadway is Oklahoma, the title track,
Oh,
which is what they performed last night.
right.
And that one I premiered and is playing now in rotation. I have to cough.
You know what's funny? So do I.
I'm so
I swear I was actually thinking I have to cough. Isn't that weird?
or are we like strange like
That is
totally
really-
You guys have a secret language that I don't know about.
Really, that's really
separated
weird.
at birth? Dun dun dun. The Paul Wontorek Julie James story.
That was
I'll produce it.
ridiculous. So
Like
yeah, okay.
sympathy cough. Anyway,
So
so premiering a lot of music,
Yeah.
and it all happened kind of right at once this
Yeah.
year, which was a little unusual.
and the week
'cause
for the Tonys, it was
kind-
odd.
yeah, like because a lot of times they sort of dole out over the months,
yeah.
but these were like pounds
Yeah.
all at once.
yeah. So Hadestown had a big night.
Yep.
There weren't that many. It wasn't a surprise night. There were a couple
No.
categories that were like, and one of them actually, and I thought this because you said Oklahoma orchestrations.
Right.
Was sort of a category where I thought, well, a lot
I
of
could
people
have
were
seen
saying
that going to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
was sort of, and it went to Hadestown, right?
It did,
Correct?
and those guys. Well, one of them, Michael Chorney, plays on stage in the band.
Yeah,
For
okay.
Hadestown, and the other, and both of the guys have been with Aeneas on Hadestown from the get go, which was like 12 years ago. So she was really
yeah.
personally happy for their nominations. On nominee day because she was like, these guys have been
That's
in
great.
this with me from the jump. So it was cool to see that happen.
Yeah, and when Harold Wheeler was here a couple weeks ago, and orchestrators are really important to
They
what you're hearing in
sure
the theater.
are.
Another thing, I actually spent the weekend seeing a bunch of shows.
Yeah.
because I had kind of a final burst, and so I saw Ain't Too Proud, Hadestown, and the Prom, which were sort of 3 of the big shows, and it's funny because we've been talking a lot about like set design. These are not the most top of the list categories, but we were talking
Right.
about set design of a musical, and David Corns, the fantastic David Corns, who did this, we kind of thought that the Beetlejuice set was amazing.
Sure.
But it was funny when I was watching Hadestown, I was watching that set and I went, this set is, because it's simple and so evocative, and little things happen, so that was another one. So Hadestown had a little bit of a sweep,
Yeah.
in the sense that they did kind of grab in, which happens when there's a lot of love for a show. They kind of grab in other categories that are maybe more.
Yeah, and to Beth's point, they didn't do as many in the acting categories, but they
Right.
had one category for leading actor that there wasn't a nomination for
Right.
them, so they couldn't have won that many acting categories.
Right. Although Reeve Carney was fantastic last
He
night
was
performing.
so great. Okay, did
singing,
you see?
"Way!" I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sing. For me, I'm coming. You're the singer, not me. Yeah, go
Do you
ahead.
see his red carpet look?
Well, the hat?
The hat.
the
Well,
hat.
I saw him
a
at the
top
party.
hat of feathers.
and the
I saw him at the
pants.
party after. Reeve Carney never disappoints on fashion. I actually saw him, even like I went to the matinee on Saturday and he came out to say hi afterwards. And even his casual outfits
It's
are
true.
like bespoke.
He said
anyway,
a friend made his
true.
hat.
Huh?
He said a friend made his hat. I asked about the
Custom
party.
No,
made.
that's his friend is a very famous hat designer.
I-
It's not like.
And I asked him, and he said
But
a
it was
friend made
Well,
my
he's
hat.
friends with the
I'm
right
just
people.
saying.
It'd be
Custom
like if
made,
you
like, the
said, "My
week
friend Bob
before."
Just
Mackey
saying.
made my sequence tonight."
There
So
we
Bob
go.
Mackey one, of course. But let's get to some of the acting with Ferryman. Let's talk
Ferryman,
about Ferryman.
that was
Ferryman
also a
was
bit
sort
of
of
a
the top
sweep.
top play. I think we all saw that coming.
Sure.
We all saw that coming.
Yeah.
But that was sort of the obvious thing. There were a lot of great speeches.
Wonderful speeches.
What sort of jumps out as an amazing moment for you?
For me, definitely Rachel Chavkin. That was a beautiful speech.
Because a lot of us really wanted her to take it for
Sure
Natasha
enough.
Pierre, right? That was
Yep.
so this is we've been
I love
Ryan
this.
Casey did these great illustrations, which you can see on the site. But she, and it says he wrote on here, "I wish I wasn't the only woman directing a musical on Broadway."
Yeah.
It's, which is that became sort of one of the moments, right? That was sort of
totally.
one of the like, let's talk about something bigger
Yeah.
than winning awards.
Yeah.
here.
And she used it not just about, herself and directing, but to speak up for people of color,
Yeah.
for more opportunities, to be in this, I will never word it as beautifully as she did, but to be in a business that's all about imagination and to not sort of imagine, more, to be imaginative enough to think beyond,
Right.
what is the sort of the status quo. So it was very powerful.
In our backstage video that Beth did, Bryan Cranston talks about the same. He made a joke, of course, when he got on stage. He said, "Oh, great, a straight white guy."
Finally an
Finally, an
old
opportunity for a straight
guy.
white guy. But he talks about that too. That the challenge is now that if it's not going to happen in the theater community, where we open
Where?
things up,
Right.
where will it happen? And along those lines, I would love to give a little shout out to
This might be my
Ali
other
Stroker.
my other big moment.
Who, Ali Stroker is such a great talker.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Beth, not all actors are necessarily the best. A lot of actors who are fantastic on stage aren't necessarily the best in speaking and especially speaking on points and
I
staying
agree.
focused in that way. Ali Stroker, I said to Beth, imagine if she wasn't such a great spokesperson because she's beautifully media trained and she's emotionally trained to be able to really, put her thoughts in. And
Yeah.
so when
she does a
won,
lot of public speaking.
Yeah.
She goes around
You could
and,
tell.
and does speeches and speaks to all kinds of
Yeah.
different, groups. So and it shows.
So she said,
Absolutely
"This award
shows.
is for every kid who has a disability, has a limitation, or a challenge, who has been waiting to see themselves represented in this arena. You are." And it was just
It was really emotional.
Stunning.
It was really emotional. Now, I don't think
and
that
she looked gorgeous.
yes. I don't think they televised Judith Light's acceptance speech.
Yeah. So when you see it, when you see it in the house, there's a lot of speeches. Terrence McNally gave a full speech, and Judith Light, and there's a lot of the commercial breaks. There's karaoke moments, by the way. Billy, did you see the Billy Porter Mama Rose?
I saw a bit of it.
Yeah,
yes.
so Billy Porter sang, oh my God. James Corden was like, the first time he came out, he said, "Let's do karaoke with people in the audience." And he said, "Where's Billy Porter?" And they were like, "He's backstage." He was like, oh. So when he came back again, he said, "Billy Porter's here now." And so, and Billy Porter said, "I guess I'll sing." Everything's coming up roses, I guess, whatever. And he started singing it, and then he's like, I'm doing the whole thing? And then at one point, he sang like a big note, everyone's cheering. He goes, "You didn't think I was going to mark this, did you?" I mean, and then he ended up getting on stage, because he was in the house, getting on stage.
I don't think I saw that part.
I said to Jordan Roth at that party, I said, "You produced that Billy Porter Gypsy revival. You saw that.
Can you imagine?
You saw that." Anyway. Just throwing it out there.
Wow.
Anyway, but so the speeches, a lot of the special speeches, what happened? They happen during commercial breaks, and they take a clip of it and just show a clip. But you're right, Judith Light gave a beautiful speech.
The Judith Light speech was just a work of art, really. When she, and she was so passionate about it. I saw her do it at Dress.
Yeah.
And also at Dress, to go back to the karaoke for a second. James was really clear in the house. I don't know if he said anything during the actual show. Or in the room, I should say. But he said, it's really hard when the commercial breaks happen, I feel like the room empties out and the energy goes away because people get up, they go to the bathroom, they go to the bar, they're seeing to
I
their...
didn't even know that happened as much as it does. But
Yeah.
it literally the entire, like all these, I was in the middle of a row, so it was harder for me to move out. But people do, they run out.
Yeah.
And
It's a
I never
long
thought
show.
there was enough time though.
Yeah. But
And it's hard to find a drink or it's hard to find even
Sure.
water. It's not like,
yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, he said, so we're going to try to do some fun things during the commercial breaks to keep the energy in the room. I think he wanted to keep more people in the room.
Yeah.
And certainly with a Billy moment like that, I'm
Yeah,
sure
that
everybody
worked.
wanted to like stay and see that unfold.
Can we-
I would have.
Can we talk about Celia Keenan-Bolger? Because I've been waiting for Celia Keenan-Bolger to win a Tony Award for a long time. This is her 4th nomination. I especially love, she gave a beautiful speech. Of course, she won for playing Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird. But I loved at the very end of the speech, the thing that jumps out is at the very, and she got emotional talking about her family. And at
Yeah.
the very end of the speech, I loved though when she said, and I'm gonna paraphrase, my amazing circle of friends who are there for me when I don't win a Tony. I love that. It was like such a
sweet.
great, she's so real. She's such a beloved part of our community. And she's just like the best person. So
Yeah.
it was amazing to see that finally happen for her.
Agreed. And
So,
the other person.
Stephanie J. Block?
Yeah.
SJB.
SJB, baby.
So that happened for Stephanie. And I was amazed at, it's always amazing when you see the schedule, but she performed pretty late in the show. And I was like, well, how soon are they doing her category after this? And it's amazing how she's in full Cher drag, and then suddenly it's like she's back in her gorgeous, and then she wins, and then and it's just like magic sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she won, and we actually have a great quote from that too. Don't mind me.
do.
Why don't you read this one? About
Mama won a
her
trophy.
Her message to her daughter.
But like I always tell you, it's not about winning, little girl. It's about showing up, doing your best, loving all people, and finding joy along the way.
Yeah, which is such a beautiful message. Yeah, Stephanie, congratulations.
Oh my
I know
goodness.
she's really been working her
There
butt
was kind of one thing that I really needed to have happen last night, and it happened. And I feel like from the moment that the Cher show opened, whatever anybody thought about it one way or the other, the one consistent thing you heard everywhere all the time, anytime the Cher show came up, it was like, this is Stephanie's time. This
Yeah.
is Stephanie's time. She's
Yeah.
got to do it. It's gonna happen. And I do feel like when you hear that kind of a message over and over and
Yeah.
over again, it's like it's going to materialize. So I was so elated and thrilled that it really did come true.
And I also, when she came here for Show People, I like to remind people what a huge risk that was.
Yeah.
And how I remember all of us just being like, what's this gonna be like? Stephanie J. Block's doing Cher. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, because she had to impersonate her to a certain extent.
Right.
And then find her own humanity on top of it. So
Yeah.
pretty
My
amazing.
favorite is I got a couple of tweets last night that said, I knew in my heart Stephanie was going to win when I heard her on Broadway Names. And one of the stories that everyone kept mentioning, I'm sure she told it to you too, was the white strips. You know the white strips?
crest white strips?
The crest.
No, what happened? Tell me.
Scoop to scoop. It's really cute. It's better when she tells it, so look it up somewhere. But she was on vacay, and they rented like a house somewhere,
Yeah.
and she was in the bathroom and she was running her lines, and I was asking her about finding the voice, because
Yeah.
it's really good. It's not an impersonation
Oh,
voice.
I do know the story. Keep going,
But
yeah.
it's like it must have been tricky to figure out. And she
Yeah.
said that she was pretty good in the beginning with anything that Cher had actually said, like a speech,
Right.
like a eulogy, things that she could listen to Cher do. She found her way in with that. But when it was the book scenes that had been written, that was a little trickier for her to find Cher's cadence for that. So she was running lines. They're on vacation. She's in the bathroom. She's running lines, and she hears Seb from the other room say,
Sebastian.
"Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." And she was literally wearing the white strips, and So I guess because of the way you talk when you have the white strips on.
Right.
This is terrible. This is why I'm
That's how
not
you
a
do
Tony
it.
Award-winning
That's
Cher actress.
so
But that
funny.
was like her way in, and so many people got a kick out of that story. So
We should also shout out Santina Fontana. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
The Boys in the Band was, I kind of called that. I
Yeah.
saw the energy happening
the
for
energy,
that.
but this is something we talked about on our broadcast last night. It was very it was a good argument against some of the conventional wisdom, which is that when a show closes very early on, I mean, that show closed like last August.
Yeah, I mean, it played out its run. It was
Right,
supposed
it's
to
not
play.
like
It was a limited
it's
run.
not closing
Yeah.
for any
Because of the
bad
amazing
reason.
cast.
Right, it was a very, very extremely limited run.
Yeah.
And so, but that show has been gone for so long that the conventional wisdom is
Yeah.
nobody will remember it because so many things have happened, and especially in this very crowded, packed year for shows. That and there were a few things last night that happened that were already gone.
Yeah.
Elaine May. for
Elaine May
instance.
won, of course. And I was so jarred looking. I was like, she looks so young.
She did.
I was so used to the character,
know.
the character in the Waverly Gallery.
Totally.
Sam Mendes, of course, Bertie Carvel for Ink. He's been here. Robert Horn for Tootsie, who's also been a guest for his book of Tootsie. Yeah, it was a lot of really interesting people.
Yeah.
Sergio Trujillo
Yes.
finally won for choreography. He's such an important, and seeing Ain't Too Proud again, I mean, it's really so woven. I mean,
Yeah.
so much of the energy of that show.
Those moves are dynamite.
Yeah.
And the guys doing them are just electrifying. Even in the half full Radio City for Dress,
Yeah.
the place was on fire
Yeah.
with their whole
I mean,
number.
Ain't Too Proud is going to run longer than maybe any of these shows.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah,
Ain't Too Proud is like a
Yeah.
real crowd pleaser.
It really
It's
is.
pretty incredible. And back to Boys in the Band, Ryan Murphy. Of course, well, David Stone, by the way, the producer of Boys in the Band with Ryan Murphy. It's his first Tony, which is amazing because he's
Wow.
Yeah, he's the producer of Wicked. Which we don't have to relive that. But Ryan Murphy, of course, I did an interview with him recently, and he really wants to be a part of the Broadway community. So welcome, Ryan Murphy. You're now a Tony winner. But
Yes.
like next week, they're reuniting the cast to film this movie,
Right.
Of this Netflix movie out in LA for Boys in the Band. So this is a nice
That's
sort
exciting.
of. This is a nice, but also let's talk about Ryan Murphy's also making the Prom, which
Indeed.
we've talked about before. And the Prom unfortunately went home empty-handed
No.
last night, but they did a great number.
The number was terrific.
Yeah, they did Elfie Galinda, that number, right? I love that. Where I'll be Elfie or Galinda.
You're
Anyway,
Galinda.
Brooks Szymanskis is who we're talking about. The fantastic Brooks Ashmanskas, and Caitlin Kinnunen, who of course were both nominated. They had a great number. Yeah.
It was wonderful. Can we talk about, there's sort of, for me, it sort of like clicked in my mind in a different way. There's sort of three different things going on in regards to theater and the Tonys.
Okay.
So first thing is, what is the show in the room? What is the show in the theater that it's built for? And what the show looks and feels and sounds like in that theater. Then you have a second thing for the Tonys, which is what does it look, sound, and feel like on the Tonys stage? Because
Yeah.
Radio City is ginormous, and so you're trying to take
Most of them look, watching it in the house, most of them look
They look
out
tiny.
of place.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, I'm used to watching it on TV now. Most of them
Right.
look out of place.
Yeah. And then you have sort of like the third thing that happens, which is what does it look like on TV?
Right.
Which, it's totally different
Yeah.
what something looks like on television versus what it looks like in the Radio City
Yeah.
Music Hall. So it's sort of, it must be challenging when you go to stage these numbers
Yeah.
to be, to take something that was built for this like relatively small theaters,
Mm-hmm.
most theaters are small, to take it to a giant space like Radio City, and then also what does it look like on television? And
Mm-hmm.
some numbers are, even from the best shows, are more or less successful just
Yeah.
depending on how it translates on camera.
Yeah.
Like when Beetlejuice did their number yesterday, I was like, ka-ching! They just sold a lot of tickets because it like came across really well on camera.
Yeah.
So things that, and I think the Prom, I would
Yeah.
credit with that as well, is
Yeah.
that like their number came across really great on camera.
Yeah, we got that girl-on-girl kiss on one more TV show.
Right?
I love it.
Knocking out TV show, like shocking America
Yes.
left and right.
Yes. Hey, Caitlin, I
Yes.
realize we're kind of hogging the cameras here. The
all
camera and microphones.
good.
Is there anyone have anything to say to us?
Yes. So Casey wants you guys to talk about Andre DeShields' acceptance speech
Yes.
and him finally winning.
I have that. You know, I told Andre DeShields, I said, I've been waiting for this moment ever since I fell in love with that Wiz Cast album.
Yes.
Because Andre DeShields is a legend.
So you wanted to meet the wizard.
Oh, I want to meet the wizard. Yeah, and also Full Monty. I thought that was
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
slam
yes.
dunk year, right? He gave 3 tips in his speech. He said, number 1, surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you coming, which really made me go, wow, that is some deep wisdom, by the way. Like to really do. Anyway, number 2, slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. And number 3, the top of the mountain is the bottom of the next, so keep climbing. So if you're going to get wisdom
Beautiful.
from anyone, I think Andre DeShields would be a great place. And, you know, when I was watching Hadestown again, I thought he kicks off the show in so many ways. He frames the whole
Yep.
show, right? You know,
Bookends.
with the way that his role is crafted. And I just thought, you know, he's living his moments up there. You know, I mean, he's
1,000%.
audience in the palm of his hand, and I was watching it thinking, I'll bet he'll be there longer than any of the other cast members. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he is going to cherish this moment because he's a real theater star.
Absolutely. And what I'm sure another thing that he's been out there saying on our shows, and I'm
Yeah.
sure on many of yours, is, you know, I've had 50 years in the business, and I have to thank Anais Mitchell because of her and Hadestown. I'm now considered an emerging artist because he's like
Yeah.
on a different radar
Yeah.
because of Hadestown than he has been for
Totally.
for a number of years. I think it's been like 12 or 13 years since he's been on Broadway.
Wow.
So, you know, nominated 3 times, right?
Yeah,
I
sounds
think it's
right.
3 times, first win.
Yeah.
And it's really encouraging. I think he's 73 years
Yep.
old. I mean, if that's not encouraging to any artist, and also the whole journey of Hadestown is encouraging
Yeah.
for any artist,
True.
is because it's a real story of trust in the process and the timing. This is something that started was born out of DIY community theater
Yeah.
in Vermont 12 years ago. And, you know, I'm sure you feel as I do when a show happens kind of out of town, you have your Old Globes and your Berkeleys and your Fifth Avenue. And there's like a real, when it seems like it picks up any kind of heat or steam, there's like this rush to go to Broadway
Yeah.
and to get it in while you can, while there's momentum. Even Ain't Too Proud. It was a similar thing. They had momentum. They couldn't come in because apparently none of the right theaters were available to
Right.
them. So they toured it instead and kept that momentum going that way. But I think the whole journey of Hadestown is a real, for any of you who are writers or creators or artists of any kind, it's a good lesson in trusting the timing, and that the right timing, will be there. I hosted a talkback with Rachel Chavkin and Anais Mitchell a couple weeks ago at the theater, and Rachel was saying, we were talking about, the different steps in their journey, and Rachel was saying when they went to Edmonton, she actually thought she killed the show. That the set design was very stark,
different, yeah.
and they weren't doing it as metaphorically, they were doing things more literally. And she said, I cried like every night because I was like, I've killed this beautiful show. And then they were able to take it to London and fix it.
Wow.
And you saw it over
Every
there.
production has been very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you talk about having faith in something. When they did it off Broadway, I remember people liking it, but it wasn't like a sensation.
A frenzy, right.
You know what I mean? It was kind of like certain people got attached to it and got behind it and
Right.
built it and made it into what it, and now it's a
And now
winner
it's
of
a
8 Tony
big
Awards.
old winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else, Caitlin?
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, so Peyton wants to know, what were some of your favorite looks from last night?
I was so stunned in the party scene. Every time I saw Julie White, I was like,
Yeah.
Julie
Yeah,
White.
and Christian Siriano.
Oh
Yeah.
my
A
God.
Vision in Pink.
She looked great.
Julie
Yeah.
White was gorgeous.
She looked really
I mean,
great.
Billy Porter, his outfit was made out of the Kinky Boots curtain.
Which
Yeah.
was
I really
just
can't
It
get
was
over that.
stunning. We
Phenomenal.
also, who else was great? I mean, Celia Keenan-Bolger.
I love Dominique Morisseau's red outfit.
Ooh,
She-
yes.
She really
gorgeous.
I was like, I didn't know what to expect, but
Yeah.
she looked good.
Yep.
The pops of color were great with the
Yeah.
pride carpet. Aeneas was wearing red as well, and I thought that looked very
How
chic
about Brandon
on her.
Uranowitz? That was a fun.
Oh my, that was a look.
That was a
That was
fun
fun.
tux.
That was
That
a
was
look.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Gideon's Dolce & Gabbana tux. Was very nice.
Yeah.
Agree.
I like the texture.
You
Yeah.
really dug into all the looks. So.
Yeah, I liked it.
yeah.
Everybody looked great. I think I really appreciated how surprising everybody was this year. I
Yeah.
feel like everyone went there. It wasn't the Met Ball where everyone was showing up in black and white tuxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what happened. But this year, a lot of like really, they took it. They shoot their shot. Is that how
Yeah.
you say? They shot their shot.
Even
Whatever.
Noblezada. I
Oh
just
my gosh,
saw a picture of her
stunning.
gown, and that was really. I mean, I saw. Here's the thing on the carpet. I mean, unless where you want them is walking near you because you want to talk to them.
Right, then you can't really get the
But then
whole
you
look.
can't really see their whole look
Yeah.
because there's like this sort of gateway between
Yeah.
the two of you. If they are walking on the furthest side of the carpet, you're never going to get them to come over and talk to you, but you can see their look a lot better.
It was nice to see Jeremy Pope always looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But
Jawan jacket.
Jackson,
Jawan Jackson's
Yeah.
jacket.
Jawan
Say
Jack-
that 3
J- J-
times
J- yeah.
fast. There's your warm up for later
But I
theater
wanted to
piece.
say about Jeremy Pope, he was of course double nominated,
Yeah.
and it was nice to see the Choir Boy cast reunited.
Oh, that was
was
really
great.
great.
That
And
was
their
really
number
great.
was
That was a cool-
fantastic too.
That was a cool moment.
Yeah, that was really. What did you think of the Michael in the Bathroom parody?
I loved it.
It was really funny,
I
right?
loved it. Well, because we have an illustration for that too, because that's what we do here. We
Yes.
illustrate things. I look at all these papers.
Look
There
at
we
it.
go.
It's Sarah, James, and Josh in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It
Without
was,
NPH.
I thought it was really clever, and I really loved. Actually, my favorite bit might have been James Corden trying to get
Broadway people to
Cardi
fight.
B, Nicki Minaj
Oh my
style
gosh,
feuds
yes.
to happen because Audra McDonald,
was
McDonald
perfect.
taking
Taking
off
the
the earrings to get into a fight with who was she fighting with?
Linney.
Laura Linney.
Oh my God, Laura
Laura
Linney.
Linney.
I could not. I
That
was
was
like,
great.
and that was another moment where I was like howling in my seat, and everyone else was around me was just like, "Are we gonna win?" I was like, "This is funny. This is so funny."
It was great.
Uh,
That was a great bit. Newsflash: Joe Iconis did not know
I know that's weird. I
that
heard
was
that
happening.
too.
I talked to him
That's
about it on the
strange.
carpet, and I'm glad I didn't blow it because I like brought it up thinking like he was all over it. I mean,
Yeah.
Eddie Perfect wrote some very clever lyrics for Beetlejuice.
Right, and also
and adjusted
Hadestown had
those.
original. Aeneas wrote part of that was original.
Oh, for the Tonys?
I think wasn't
because
the
they
opening
had to adjust
the
the
way that
opening part?
Andre introduced because he sort of like sets it up in a
Right.
more concise way,
Right.
and it's always smart to do that. It's
Yeah.
smart to actually not just put one of your numbers on stage, but to craft it like you
Exactly.
said,
Right.
To sort of check
To
off all
fit.
the boxes,
Right.
Yeah.
But so that being said, I kind of started to bring it up with Joe on the carpet because I was like, surely
Spoiled
I
it.
thought actually he would have
Wrote
been
the
involved in
lyrics
it
or
or,
the- yeah.
or written the parody. Thankfully, I didn't totally spoil it for him. He just said I'm aware that something is happening, but I don't know what song it is or what I'm only aware that somehow there's going to be something going on.
Right.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to have I told him, I was like, we need a reaction shot camera just on
Yeah.
you for when that happens, because I would have loved to have seen his reaction.
Let's do one more
Oh, yeah.
question.
Yes, we
Julie
can
and
do.
I could talk for hours.
Yeah, we can. We're gonna do one last question because we've been here for a minute, you guys. But it is Tony's. So the biggest thing is people just want to know how you feeling. What's your favorite thing about this past Broadway season?
I am feeling tired.
Yeah. I'm excited for summer.
I'm excited for sleep.
My favorite thing about this season. Interesting question to sort of to
Yeah,
stay
it's
in one
a-
statement.
Yeah, it's a deep well to draw from there. I would say that when I'll go with this angle. When I look back on this season, as much as I really do love Hadestown and I'm so just enormously thrilled for that entire team, I'm probably going to remember this as a year of musical comedy. It was a lot more musical comedy than I think is typical. You have the Prom, you had Beetlejuice, you had Tootsie.
Even Kiss Me Kate.
Even Kiss Me Kate, sure. Like it was a big.
Be more chill.
Yeah,
You know,
arguably.
I mean, they're like
sure.
sort of lighter.
Yeah, so it had a
Head
lot.
Over Heels.
All right.
I mean, let's think about
Another
the
one of my
shows that were
favorites.
not nominated.
Yeah,
But yeah, you know, the
totally.
season overall.
So it was a
The
lively.
Cher show, there's a lot of laughs in that.
There is a lot of laughs in the Cher
Yeah.
show. That's one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah.
So it had a lot of comedy, I think more than average musical comedy. And then on the other hand, I was very wowed by things like Mockingbird, and you know, I was profoundly moved by that for days and days afterward. It really stayed with me. So there's been some really touching things as well. I mean, I think you and I both love the Prom because it ticks both boxes, right? It's comedy, but it also
love
like
the
had
Prom.
it was so touching.
Yeah, I'm bummed that it didn't get to win anything.
I know.
But you know, I think the Prom is going to have an interesting future with this movie. You know,
And they have that YA book that's out.
They have a YA book coming out, and I really believe that it's going to make a change for a lot of people. And you know, I just think about if I had encountered that show. I said that before, but if I had encountered that show when I was a kid, but you know, Ryan Murphy wants to make an impact with that movie.
Yeah.
And he's the man who can do it. And there's a lot of whispering about casting, you know, and things that might be happening with that movie. And if any of these rumors are true, this it might turn into a movie event.
Right.
You know, so
exciting.
But go see it at the Long Acre Theater because that
Yes.
Broadway. Oh, by the way, I just want to finally say, because I saw the Prom Saturday night, these Broadway performers, well, let's give a shout out to these people, because I was, you know, hugging Brooks and Beth Level, who had a crazy ovation. Did you see my Instagram story?
Yeah, and I
after
also
the
heard
ladies?
about, I think Lisa Goldberg or
Oh
something.
my
I heard
God!
About.
When she sang "The Ladies Improving," she did like an extra. She did extra, and the audience went crazy, and we gave her a standing ovation, and she got emotional, and it was such a beautiful moment because I was kind of like.
That is Broadway heaven.
And like I said on my Instagram story, there were no Tony voters in the house.
Yeah.
She just did it. It almost felt like the Tonys are tomorrow. What a crazy time this has been. I'm just going to give it. I'm giving it. And the people in the house were people who love the Prom. And so those moments are so exciting.
That is so incredible. And she has said on one of our shows that, because I think the rest of the cast was sort of like ribbing her a little bit about the held note. And I think that's the longest that it's ever been. But she sometimes, what I loved was her answer back was like, I only do it when the people want it. I only do it when the people, like, she can like feel.
She wanted it.
She can feel when the
We wanted
audience
it.
like wants that, and she gives it. And I think the night before the Tonys is a perfect time to like, and then some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was saying hi to all of them afterwards, and they had to get up at 5 a.m. the next morning.
Yep.
It was 11 o'clock at night. They had just done a full
2-show day.
They were all there,
Two-show
you know,
show.
and they had to get up on Sunday morning. They had to be at rehearsal like 7. They had to be there at the theater at 7, I think, and then they had to go.
They like
and then,
bust them over in their costumes.
Yeah, they literally rehearsed all morning, and then they did a matinee, and then they had to get dolled up, and then they had to do the red carpet, and then they had to go to the theater, and then you watch things like the Stephanie J. Block thing I said, where you're watching her balance between. Getting in, you know, her glamour look and her Cher look, and then winning, and then doing the press line if you win, and
it's like Olympic medal worthy. Like it should be like an Olympic medal feat for just making it through that day.
It's just
especially as
crazy
a
that
nominee.
it's not just adjusted. Why can't they just come up with a different? Why do we need to do a matinee that day? Why can't the rehearsal be at a different time? I don't know. I don't run these things. But you know what? We love you Broadway people, because we love the fans.
Yep.
First of all, but those people on that stage, it is unlike anything else in show business. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, we were talking about it last night a little bit too, of like, or on the red carpet, something about the Oscars, like, because you know sometimes we flippantly call this the Oscars of Broadway.
Right.
But think about it, in movies, you are not on a campus. We're sort of like on a campus here in New York, like this neighborhood. You see people passing in the streets in the Schubert Alley, and you're all on your way to your shows, and you see people, and we're in this like, you know, small square radius, and then show people are doing their shows 8 times a week. For movies, that movie that you got nominated for and the rest of the people in it are like, that was 3 years ago. You've done 3 movies since then.
Right.
So, but this is so familial because you're all here in this area together and you're seeing each other 8 times a week. You're all in it together.
And also, they have to, the shows that didn't win, they now have to go to the theater. And there's like a very public recovery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's an
You know what I mean? Like, think about that. They have to go do the show tomorrow night, and audiences will be there to embrace them. And But that's also something that movie actors don't have to do. It's just sort of like,
Then also, I think there's some exhaling that goes on where life returns to some semblance of normalcy and for a change because these last 6 weeks have been so dizzying.
Yeah.
Schedule-wise, and having to do the show and juggle all of these commitments is a real test. So I think it's good for some people that they are like, I get to just go back to my beautiful show and just be and do that and do that, which was always my job all along.
Well, we're halfway through our special 2-hour live event. With James.
I'm gonna go get some more coffee.
I'm so glad, but it was something you said a second ago sparked in me that like you were saying we love the fans.
Yeah.
And I agree. And isn't this wonderful, that we have this, that you have this platform? When we were enjoying our Broadway shows, we couldn't connect with the community of fans.
I would write letters, but I got actually at the Radio City. There were I met a bunch of people there who were like, I'm from Colorado and I'm here and I'm so excited. I'm here at the Tonys and we love Broadway.com. We love Broadway.com. And I know you experience that all the time. I've seen you at Broadway Con, like work the room. I mean, because, we love that people love the content we're creating because we're doing it because we love it. And
we love it and we love that you love it. And when we hear things like that, I think it encourages you to do it even more, better, harder, faster, like you're going for it because those comments from all of you put gas in our tank, and right now the tank is a little empty. So it really helps and it inspires you to do more and to keep doing it and to keep doing the best that you can because we understand that it means something to you. So thank you for that.
So that's why we'll be doing a lot of Moulin Rouge content in the coming months. Because it's all starting up again.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you
Julie
so
James.
much,
Everyone,
Year
you
4.
need to. So Julie James, and she also does the opera channels. You just actually launched a Pavarotti channel, limited Pavarotti.
We have a limited engagement
She doesn't
Pavarotti
just
channel.
do Broadway, but listen to her on and follow her on social media. And Julie James is everywhere.
Yeah,
and people
we love
her.
Broadway.com. Happy
you.
to be here.
Thank you so
for
much,
having
Julie.
me, guys.
Congratulations on getting through
You're
everything. Hey, Caitlin, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm
Look how open those eyes are.
I'm still here. I need more coffee.
Why don't you take us out?
Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this very special Live at 5. We are live at 5 every single day here on Facebook. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts by searching for hashtag Live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we talk to Miss Stephanie Stiles all about Kiss Me Kate.